Good afternoon, everybody. I am your host, Devin, and welcome to The Breakdown. With me today, we have got Mr. Greg B himself. Greg, how you
What's,
doing?
what's going on, man? Had a bit of a rough start to the morning, but it's cool. We're all good here.
Oh yeah, I see how that goes too. Yeah, waking up bright and early, 7:45 to watch the game, and you think, okay, you want to sleep on the weekend. You're expecting something special. Um,
Mm.
Ends up being Atletico Madrid 1, Manchester United 0. So, what were your thoughts about the match as a whole, though?
I mean, let's face it. The result was a bit of a repeat of what we saw in the Champions League round of 16. Same goal scorer as well, too, João Felix. So similarities there, but there was a bit of a difference in some regards. I mean, we wouldn't. It wasn't the best football I saw from Manchester United today because I saw there were a couple of issues that still kind of reared their ugly head. The forward passing not as evident as it should have been in the early stages. A lot of it being very kind of passive in between. So it could have used a bit more work. There was urgency in some regards. I mean, Malacia was a highlight for me in some aspects, and the bringing in of Christian Eriksen to kind of bring more creativity. You saw that really change the game in that sense where you saw them having more of a forward thinking movement. There were chances. There were a lot more chances for us than there were for Atletico Madrid. The only difference is they were more clinical. I mean, Harry Maguire had a chance he could have put away. Rashford had a chance he could have put away. It's like there were so many opportunities to do something to capitalize on what we were doing in the second half, and nothing came to fruition.
And good afternoon to Kess, and good afternoon to everybody again for watching. Greg, I completely agree. To me, it seemed like a tale of two halves. First half, I thought we looked very strong. I thought some of our movement was pretty good. I thought Fred for the first half was actually the man came in as a hatchet man, had a job to do, and I thought he was actually playing very well. We knew what was going to happen with Atletico. We know the way out they play. We know the antics that they do, where they hack you, they go after everything, try to get away with a whole bunch of fouls. You touch them and they turn into Neymar. We all know how it goes already.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's basically a trait of any Diego Simeone side that you're dealing with. He's a player that it is playing days. He used to deal up a lot in the dark arts, so that would be
correct.
information that he would pass on to a lot of his players. So you would see the likes of Saul and Marcos Llorente. Anytime they just feel any form of contact, they'll try to go down, and you could see the referee was kind of falling for it in a lot of ways because there were a lot of calls that they were getting. I'm just like, really? This is not that serious for you to be rolling around on the ground like somebody shot you in your back. And I mean, I have to say the comment on Fred. I mean, a lot of people were kind of harsh on him because he got sent off. But if it's one thing, that's kind of like the that comes with the way that Fred plays in itself. He's a tough customer. He was one of those players that will get stuck into tackles. He will be aggressive. He will be as physical, but he's not afraid to get into a battle, and that's one of his best attributes. But today, the red card, yes, it was warranted. I mean, he did stamp on I forgot who the player was that he stamped on, but
Morata.
yeah, it was Morata. But still, it's in him to be very tough and aggressive because he's going to run at you. He has a bit of a pit bull mentality. So you can't be mad at him entirely for what took place. But in itself, he was one of our better players. But I think the standout for me, remarkably, was Harry Maguire because I mean you saw confidence coming back into his game, a confidence that seemed to be missing last season. And when you watch the way that he went into tackles, the way he positioned himself, the way he read situations, I mean, he couldn't do anything on the goal. That was on Diogo Dallo because he allowed João Felix to have time to be composed and didn't close it down fast enough. But other than that, I can't have too many complaints. I do have issues with it, but the result doesn't necessarily bother me too much. The performance overall, there's room for improvements.
So the one complaint that I have about Harry Maguire
Hmm.
is off of that corner that Ericsson set on him.
Yeah,
Blather right in.
boy.
We have
Yeah,
not, I have not seen a delivery like that in a long time. And Maguire, with the size of his head, he should be putting that away. So that is about the only complaint I could say about
boy.
from him.
I mean,
Uh,
can we just go back to Christian Eriksen for 2 minutes? Because I mean, how seamless did he fit into that midfield?
oh, he
It,
slaughtered him perfectly. Like
it was,
it's
you
great. Like
swear he was playing with those guys for like 10 years or something. It
And
was
his deliveries today, like he had two real good deliveries today into the box. Where
yeah, the one that Rashford was supposed to latch on to, I think, and it's like how many people? Not even I don't even think Bruno had that level of vision to see that pass.
yeah,
And I like Bruno.
I think being very honest, well, I know the debate about Ronaldo is on right now, but Ronaldo finishes those two chances.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. But it was good to see. It was good. It was good to see that kind of direction and that understanding of where to place the ball. It was it was something that it was refreshing to see someone with accuracy, someone who was consistently accurate with the way that he put his passes about, getting that distribution out, and that extra creativity adds more of a threat going forward to this team, and that can only get better as things go along.
So we do have to discuss the goal, unfortunately.
Hmm.
86th minute, I believe it was.
Yeah,
Joao
about that. Yeah.
Felix gets the ball. Do you think Dallo was at fault for that goal?
I kind of would, because when you look at how he was positioned, he wasn't necessarily. I think he fell asleep for that, because you see a ball coming in. João Felix should not have that time to be able to compose himself and to get a shot off in the manner that he did. The minute that you're supposed to be able to close him down, because he was the open man in the space. That's basically your position where you're supposed to be covering that spot. I mean, we saw Maguire trying to come in and stick out a foot in vain, but Dallo mainly has to do a better job of marking, and defensively, he is a liability at times, because we saw it in the Champions League, in the group, even in the group stages when Danjuma was turning him inside out. It was one of those situations. He's a good player when it comes to going forward and trying to find and pick across to get inside the box, but defensively, he leaves a lot to be desired, and I think that is something that could be heavily exposed if something is not done. It tells me that Ten Hag has to look at a right back. It tells me that he knows that there are positions that still need strengthening in the team. He's working on what he has, but everybody could see that it's not enough. I'm just hoping that the board understands that he needs to get all the support that he can to get the players to perform at the levels that they want to be at.
Definitely agreed as well. And then talking about our fullbacks now, how do you rate Malacia today?
Oh my God! I mean, Terra Malacia is a breath of fresh air. I mean, he gives us the ability to go forward, so similar to what Tellez likes to do, but he's not as easily caught out as Tellez is on that left flank, as well as he has that ability to read and be positionally aware. Sometimes Luke Shaw tends to get caught out like that as well too. But Malacia has the speed and has the intelligence to put himself in a position where the defense is not completely exposed. We saw that a few times in previous games, not just today, but his willingness to go forward. And he also took a shot as well too. Mind you, it wasn't on target, but you can see that this is a fresh young player that is coming into his own and can only get better. I believe that his ceiling is much higher than people actually realize.
Do you think he's done enough now to earn the starting nod over Shaw?
I think that remains to be seen, because there will be some games where Luke Shaw may be necessary, but there are some games where you want Malacia's pace, you want his directness, you want his ability to be able to play one-touch passes. I think it'll depend on the games that he plays to see if he can handle the physicality on a day in, day out of the Premier League. Because I mean, no disrespect to the Eredivisie, it's a very technical league, but I think the Premier League tends to mix technical and physical. So understanding if he's tough enough to be able to handle any kind of rough tackles that may come his way, because he will have. I mean, you understand that he's going to be dealing with the likes of like the Newcastles, which are some big sides, and you have. I mean, I think he has the first time experience of playing against Aston Villa with the likes of Tyrone Mings and other players in that. So he's going to come across some very physical guys. He's going to come across some people that aren't afraid to get dirty and get stuck in, and hopefully he doesn't have a Luke Shaw situation like he did in the Champions League against PSG. Praying to God that does not happen. But still, at the end of the day, he has to kind of brace himself, because it may cause a bit of a culture shock. But I think Ten Hag is doing well to integrate him into the squad the way that he has.
And I do have to bring up this question now. I know obviously we have a mixed squad right now. There's another match tomorrow at Old Trafford. Based on what we saw today, because I think a majority of this team will be starting next Sunday. Do you think we have enough of a team to compete in the Premier League right now?
Honestly, I still believe that we need a bit more reinforcement, especially in some aspects. The midfield is one area that I still believe we need to strengthen. We need more than what we currently have, because I know a lot of people are still saying they don't want to see McFred start the next season. I mean, I'm one of those, and I personally I like Fred, but even I have to admit that his quality may not be enough for what we need. He's nice to come in and give us energy, especially in the dying seconds or dying minutes, I should say. I don't want to reduce him, and I'm coming on for like small cameos and everything, but at the same time, it's like you have to understand your opposition. So depending on the games, depending on who or how everything's set up, you will know. But we still need more. We still need more creativity. We still need a decent right back, like I said, and we still need another forward because we can't go into this season relying on Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, I like the fact that he wants to. He's saying that he wants to come back, even though part of me has my reservations on that whole situation. But we still need another striker, a younger striker, someone who can probably fit Ten Hag's system and be a bit of a point man in some regards, but still have the ability to turn and play with his back to goal, link up with the other strikers as well. Too, as much as Martial has shown that he understands Ten Hag's system and he looked good during the preseason, there's no denying that. I just don't rely. I don't think we can rely on him to be consistent because the last two seasons have not filled me with any hope when it comes to Anthony Martial. So with that, like I said, probably maybe another midfielder, a right back, and a striker. I was gonna say right wing, but I think we could probably hold up on right wing for now.
So actually, I want to read out this comment from Kess. So either he was foreshadowing this question that I asked, or he could type real fast. Because as soon as I finished asking, he typed in squad depth, squad depth, squad depth. The game today was an SOS to get these pending transfers in.
Well, don't worry, because I think Ten Hag might be reading a message and he's probably going to say, "It's like you see, I need players. These players, people at United are telling me that I need players." He's probably going to be in Richard Arnold and John Witters' ears right now. Like, yeah, you saw what took place against Atletico, right? I need because I mean, you even watched the players that came off the bench for Atletico today. You saw Axel Witsel, you saw João Felix, you saw Alvaro Morata, you saw Saul,
Griezmann,
I mean, Griezmann. Come on, it's like. And these are people coming off of Atletico Madrid's bench. So why is it that we as supposedly supposed to be a bigger club than Atletico Madrid, not having decent quality? I mean, having Bruno Fernandes is good, having Christian Eriksen is good, having Donny van de Beek is good, but then the quality stops there. You have to go, it's kind of go subpar to a point with McFred, and then you have youth players coming out. You have Zidane Iqbal, you have Charlie Savage, and I don't have anything against those players. And I mean, how could I forget Donny van de Beek, who's another player there as well too? Don't know if I said him already, but at the same time, there's still the depth there has left a lot to be desired. So I think Eric has to push this, and I know the whole Frankie De Jong situation is getting everybody frustrated because he seems hell bent on getting him. But if you can get that over the line, or if you can get other alternatives in to help reinforce this team, then that would be greatly needed at this point. Because as much as I like what seems to be developing, I don't think we can trust this team going into the season.
And I do have to say a good afternoon to Clive and to Peter as well. And Clive actually brings up an interesting question now. He asks right now, what is our take on Lamptey replacing Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Personally, I actually like Lamptey. I would love to see him at United. However, my biggest fear is the British tax.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that Ten Hag said he wants to buy British players, but obviously we know all that comes along, especially when you have somebody who's primarily proven, and also, obviously being British accounts for the homegrown as well too. So it's going to be like a player who, Lamptey, do you really think he's worth more than Malacia, what we paid for Malacia?
Nah. I mean, I like the kid, and like I said, his pace is something that would be very useful going down the flanks as well too. He kind of gives me like a deeper lying Dan James kind of vibes because he's very quick, but I think he has a better cross in him than Dan James at times. But like you said, the English tax is something that you have to really worry about, and even not just even English tax, the Man United tax, because you know anytime a club hears that Manchester United might be interested in their players, it's like we can hike up the price now. A player that was you saw it. You see it with Anthony the other day for Ajax. His valuation was like 55 million. All of a sudden, I actually sit and say we want 85 million, and then when we tell them we're willing to meet the price, they want 100 million for him now. So
Exactly.
it's a bit of a difficulty to deal with that situation. And Paul, he's not even English. So imagine if we were in for, like you said, like a Lamptey, or like if we went to Leicester for James Madison or Harvey Barnes or somebody along those lines. Once you know, now even a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as I'm on the topic of wanting a striker, we go to Everton and we tell them we want Calvert-Lewin. How much do you think they're going to slap on him? Because they just lost Richarlison. They're not necessarily going to want to lose their two top strikers in one window.
Correct. So, Peter, definitely glad to have you here on the show. Please make sure you like and subscribe as well, and that goes for everybody as well too. Here's another comment from Kes. He wants Sesko ASAP. Never in his history of supporting Manchester United has he ever wanted a player so bad. So to me, when it comes to the Sesko situation, I will be very honest with you. His name pretty much popped up out of nowhere in the last 2 weeks or so.
Yes,
to me.
it is.
I saw maybe like one highlight video beforehand. And I was like, all right, it could be something. And then, of course, he scored the winner in the preseason against Liverpool. And all of a sudden, his stock shot up. Now, I love the fact that he's 6'4" and 19, so there's plenty of room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think with that right now, okay, especially at 6'4", I hope he's good in the air, because with those balls that Eriksen could put in, if we get him, it could be something very successful for the next couple seasons.
I mean, the kid seems to be a wonder. That's just dropped it in an opportunity for us to say, hey, we have an opportunity to get someone comes in. I just hope it's not a whole situation where he gets, vilified like a Marouane Fellaini or something like that. Just don't come up in Old Trafford rocking an afro, please. We don't need that. But at the same time, I like that he seems to be very technical in the way that he plays. So it shows me that he has a decent first touch. So no reminiscence of Romelu Lukaku or anything like that. People are comparing him and saying he could be the next Haaland, and Haaland didn't do himself any favors today with his Community Shield performance. Let's be very honest.
That miss today was awful.
Yeah, but going back to Šeško, I mean, I like the trajectory that seems to be that he seems to have going for him. I just don't want it to feel like we're putting on him too much too fast, and then sometimes the one clip can be so overemphasized that it overshadows what probably could be other frailties in this game that may not have been highlighted. Because they'll probably replay that and use other clips to make him look good, but you won't see other things that probably would be mentioned. Probably he may not be as quick as we'd like him to be on the break. Maybe his shooting still needs some work in some regards. There's certain things that because Salzburg will probably want a certain amount of money to get for him. If they realize that there are things that could be highlighted that could drop his stock, they're trying to guard that very closely. And I just don't want us to feel like we're getting swindled to overpay for a player that's not as good as the hype really has him. So I'm not taking any away from Šeško. I'm not taking any away from his performances in preseason so far. It was a very good goal. I saw the little pirouette that he did between the two Liverpool players to get forward, which was very nice. I have to give him that. It's pretty nimble for a 6'4" player. But I'm cautiously optimistic about it. If we do get him, kudos, and I'll be excited to see what he brings.
So good afternoon to Mr. Martin Phillip. He's asking about Community Shield now, asking which City player did himself justice today. I would say
Alvarez.
That's exactly who I was going to say. He stepped up for me.
I have to ask Martin this question though. How crazy would it be if Julian Alvarez comes in and performs better than Erling Haaland?
Well, I actually wouldn't be surprised, because he has less pressure on him than Haaland.
And that's the thing. And I think he's someone that would kind of suit Pep's system maybe a bit more. It gives me a little bit of an Aguero vibes, and not just the fact that he came from River Plate and he's Argentine and whatnot, but I think if used properly, if utilized and developed just right, he would probably be a kind of like a Aguero regen in a sense, where he comes in and he could probably play multiple positions as well too. I'm just saying that, and I just hope he doesn't end up like a Gabriel Jesus. So.
And good afternoon to Mr. Dart Sage 9117, watching us on Twitch as well too. He says he has an interesting question for us, but it is football related, not Manchester United related. So we didn't hear that question now. I do have to ask now, Greg. You said that Harry Maguire was your man of the match.
Mhm.
Were there any players out there today that you think did themselves no favors today?
As much as I like the guy, Donny van de Beek, Donny was a passenger today, and that does not bode well. I mean, this is a player who's actually played under Eric Ten Hag's system. So you're thinking that this is someone who would be able to thrive under Ten Hag's kind of style of play and be able to get the best out of him in that regard. So to see him looking the way that he did, like I just felt like he didn't really get himself into the game a lot of times. So Donny, I'm worried because I'm just like, I like you. And previous seasons before under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there were flashes of moments of brilliance that I saw that I felt could have been useful. But if if he doesn't step up and show me that he can not necessarily take a game by the scruff of the neck, but kind of have a bigger involvement in it, then I'm gonna start to have to ask more questions.
So for me, I would have to say Anthony Alanga did himself no favors today at all. I thought
Yep.
that his spacing was pretty bad today. You could definitely see his youthfulness today
Mm-hmm.
as a player because I think he did a couple of like his positioning was not where it should be. I think when he had his chance to score, he did not take his shots properly. Um, so to me, he did himself no favors at all today, and it's kind of disappointing because I mean you see him in the off season in the gym doing all the workouts, doing all the finishing drills and whatnot, and it just did not translate today. So I don't. It could be like when he first broke out onto the scene, teams didn't know about him, so he was free to do as he needed. Teams haven't figured out now, so he's got to up his game now. So
Yeah, he's gotta adjust and try to give himself a different element. I don't know. I'm just maybe I'm not I'm giving Ilanga a little bit of leeway because like you said, he's young, so this is a new system, and last season was his real first season of getting like proper runs into the team. So I'm thinking if he's given an opportunity to probably build some chemistry with the players around him, maybe things will probably kick off and he'll blend better as the season goes on. Maybe Ten Hag might use him more in like as bit in bit parts than actually like starting him in games. So I don't know. I don't want to write him off entirely just yet. But it is something that you have to watch out for. So he has to step up.
And Mr. Dark Sage, I don't want you to think that we're ignoring your question right now. He's asking right now about Qatar World Cup and if he thinks that Qatar will make a run in the World Cup afterwards. That would be a better question for tomorrow's show. That when we have
Yeah.
more talk, we have more of a panel in there as well too.
Hmm.
We also have a little bit. We have some drinks in us, so our tongues are a little bit more loose in how we answer. Today is more focused on the breakdown of the match from this morning. So please, by all means, make sure you tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. and I will and ask this question again. I will make sure that that question comes up
Yeah.
on there.
We'll bookmark it and make sure that we address it before we forget completely. All right. I'll definitely try and keep it in mind whenever we do we'll talk tomorrow. So yeah, it's an interesting question, but yeah.
It definitely is, but yeah, like I said, we just gotta make sure we were talking about the match today.
Hmm.
Overall, what would you give United's rating today on a scale of 10? Last question for you today.
Probably a 6. I mean, there's positives to take from it. There are performances from some players that I liked, but there's still a lot of work to do because Atletico Madrid, they're a decent team, but they're not like the Cities and the Liverpools and the Chelseas and the Barcelonas that we may tell ourselves that we want to encounter and play and to go toe to toe with. So we kind of have to learn from this. And I think Ten Hag says that he's seen a lot that he likes, but he also knows that he doesn't a lot that he doesn't like. At the end of the day, he's concerned about the results, and the result wasn't good. Even though it's a preseason game, he's not taking it lightly because he wants these players to understand that these scenarios can present themselves in actual games. So we have to always be switched on. We have to always be aware. We have to always be ready for anything. And that's the mindset that you always want to go into whenever you play a match. You don't want it to be, it's just preseason. This don't mean nothing. I mean, this is a precursor to how things could play off for the season coming ahead. And if your mentality is not right from then you're gonna be in a bad spot when you're going forward.
Greg, I definitely could not agree more. I said about a 6.5 for the game today. It's definitely been a pleasure speaking with you today. We will be back on tomorrow on Old Talk. We will have a breakdown also tomorrow of the match we have tomorrow morning with the rest of the squad playing. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today, Greg. And always, we keep that red flag flying high because you know why? Manchester United, we never die.
Support the United Hour. Click that like button and subscribe.